At its absolute peak, the Roman Empire was a massive, hyper-connected network stretching across 3 continents. An estimated 70 million people lived under its authority. This scale was only possible through relentless engineering. To keep massive populations alive, they built thousands of miles of roads and monumental aqueducts, moving fresh water into densely packed city centers. They constructed massive amphitheaters to entertain the public. The Colosseum, completed around 80 AD, was a structural marvel that still holds a permanent footprint in the center of the modern city. For more than 1,000 years, this political and military machine absorbed rival nations and crushed internal rebellions. Yet this superpower slowly fractured and collapsed entirely. A political and military machine of this magnitude eventually fractures under its own requirements. The very logistical systems that built the empire became the weight that crushed it. To understand the collapse, we have to look at how they grew. Around 509 BC, Romans overthrew their final king and established a republic, spreading power among elected officials and a senate. This new government developed highly disciplined armies, but rather than simply wiping out defeated neighbors, they frequently formed strategic alliances. They systematically organized conquered territories, turning local economies into Roman assets. As their borders expanded, they ran into a major competitor, Carthage, a wealthy North African empire. This collision triggered a series of massive conflicts, known as the Punic Wars. In 218 BC, the Carthaginian commander Hannibal launched a direct attack on Italy. He marched his army, complete with war elephants, straight through the freezing Alpine passes to strike Rome from the north. Hannibal battered Roman legions for years, but the Republic absorbed the losses, refused to surrender, and eventually defeated him at the Battle of Zama, securing Roman dominance over the western Mediterranean. This map highlights how rapidly their expansion accelerated after that victory. Roman control quickly consumed Spain, Greece, and Gaul, turning a regional power into a global authority. This expansion funneled massive hordes of gold and millions of captives back into Italy. This surge in resources destabilized their society, creating the political friction that would tear the Republic apart. That friction peaked with one ambitious general, Julius Caesar. His total conquest of Gaul brought him immense popularity and a fiercely loyal army, deeply threatening the Senate's fragile balance of power. When Caesar crossed the Rubicon River with his troops in 49 BC, he instantly sparked a massive civil war. He won, but his subsequent assassination plunged the state into another bloody conflict, ending only when his heir, Augustus, seized absolute control and birthed the Roman Empire. Under Augustus, the new empire entered a 200-year golden age of relative stability and massive economic prosperity, known as the Pax Romana. By 117 AD, the empire hit its maximum scale, stretching from Britain to the Middle East. But this vast territory exposed thousands of kilometers of border. Defending it became a logistical nightmare, requiring constant military deployments. Paying for that massive standing army required resources the state simply didn't have. The government imposed heavy taxation on its citizens and continuously reduced the value of the currency to mint more money, triggering severe inflation. The physical distance between the capital and the frontiers meant communication took weeks. The empire had grown too large for any central government to manage effectively, turning their greatest achievement into a fatal vulnerability. Referencing the map, to solve this crisis of scale, Emperor Diocletian introduced a drastic reform in 284 AD. He physically split administrative control down the middle, separating the empire into eastern and western zones. While the east stabilized, the western half faced overwhelming external pressure. Germanic groups and aggressive migrating forces, including the feared cavalry of Attila the Hun, continually pushed into Roman territory. Decades of political instability, military losses, and a hollowed-out economy took their toll. In 476 AD, a Germanic leader removed the final Western emperor from power, formally ending Rome's authority in Western Europe. But the Roman state didn't actually die. The eastern half, operating from Constantinople, thrived for another 1,000 years as the Byzantine Empire, building massive architectural wonders like the Hagia Sophia. Through the Middle Ages, this Eastern administration actively maintained Roman legal structures, bureaucratic methods, and engineering blueprints that would have otherwise been lost entirely. The physical borders dissolved, but the Roman blueprint remained. Their legal principles, their engineering standards, and the roots of Western languages continue to shape how modern nations function today.